Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Reggae Up Yourself podcast with me, your host, the Fuchaman. And people, we have got an international reggae legend for you this afternoon. No other than Ras Midas. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, my brother.
How are you this afternoon?
I am doing the best I allow myself to be.
That's great. Right now, we're going to take the people, your fans, and all the people of the Reggae Up Yourself podcast on a journey and give them an insight into Ras Midas. So, where exactly are you from?
I am from Clarendon, Jamaica, original.
We're in Clarendon, name of town and village.
Kellits.
Kelly.
Kellits, Clarendon, Jamaica.
And did you grow up there?
Part of my growing up was there. I grew up there until I was 13 years old.
Okay.
And then I came to the UK.
Okay, all right. We're going to get into that in a minute as well. But
yeah.
So you would have been in Clarendon until secondary school. You would have started secondary school at age 13 before you migrate.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you from a big family?
No, I'm not from a big family. I'm from a very small family.
Brothers and sisters?
No, I only have one brother, and he died, you know.
Oh, sorry for that. It's a very painful thing that I lost a brother last year as well. So, my condolences.
Yes.
And so basically, what was it like growing up there for those 13 years of your time in Clarendon? Can you remember?
It was very nice because I grew up with my grandparents.
Yes.
And it was a farming community.
Yes.
My grandmother used to run a farm, and my grandfather used to have a little garage in Kingston, doing body works and things like that.
Yes.
And I have a beautiful time being a child.
Yes.
Because I was able to ride the horses, carry out the goats for feeds, you know, and milking the cows and feeding the chickens.
Yes.
Playing cricket and soccer with my friends. And at the same time, jokingly entertaining my friends too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So next point I want to touch on before we talk about the music, because you mentioned about coming to England at age 13.
Yeah.
Many Jamaicans that I've spoken to, I've spoke about the same thing, and I just want to check if your situation was the same. Now, a lot of Jamaicans back from those times that came to England within that age range, they would be living with their grandparents while their parents was living in England. So they lived with their grandparents for a period of time, and then their parents brought them over to England. Was that the same situation for you?
What really happened is that my parents passed away first.
Before you leave Jamaica?
Before I leave Jamaica, because they were living in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And they have a race riot in Birmingham at the time, and they die in the race riot.
Hold on, sorry, 1 second. Let me just check for clarification. There was a race riot going on in Birmingham, UK.
Yeah.
And both your mom and dad died in that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
And then a year after that, my grandparents passed away too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to migrate to Birmingham to live with my auntie and my uncle.
Yeah.
So that is the way I reach over to the UK.
That's a really, really challenging and really difficult start to life for anybody at all. Never mind living with your grandparents and they passed away, and then your parents Man, that sound really difficult. You know, what I mean, all I can say is my condolences. That must have take a character, very strong person to get through a situation like that, and to, to grow up and so conscious, you know. So, can I ask, did you start singing in Jamaica, or was that something when you arrived in the UK?
Well, I used to just sing with my brother before he died, because my brother died about 1 month before he was 12 years old. And I used to just entertain my friends, in my
Yeah.
community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but while I was living in the UK,
Yes.
I was introduced to Harry Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
because a friend of mine that know him personally very good said he should really give me a audition.
Yes.
And so I met him when I was 14,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that I need to work on something, so I must check him in 2 years' time.
Yes.
And then 2 years' time again, my friends say, okay, it's 2 years, I'm going to introduce you to Harry again.
Yes.
So he introduced me when I came to Jamaica, and him introduced me. We went to Harry G. No, Harry G came to us.
Yes.
He told Harry that I was in Jamaica, and Harry J came up where I was living,
Yes.
and he gave me an audition.
So
And
RJ, sorry, can I just confirm that RJ was producer, was he?
yeah, producer Harry Johnson, the owner of Harry J Recording Studio,
Okay, okay.
and Harry J label.
Yes.
So I do an audition, and then he told me that I was ready, and he would try to get the best musician and singers to accompany her in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I get my start when I was 16.
Oh wow. So while you were on that visit in Jamaica, you recorded your first song at age 16.
Yeah, I record more than my first song. I think the first session I did 8 songs
Is in one day.
in 2 days.
Oh wow. That's amazing. That's
And
amazing.
then on the third day I did five more.
So like an album in 3 days.
Yes, he choose 8 songs out of the 13, and set it up as an album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing. Before we go any further, I am going to ask you if you can remember any of those songs.
Yes, yes, yes. It was Kudia Bamba, it was Rain and Fire,
Yeah.
Troubled Town, Dread Feelings, Rastaman Cruiser, 400 Years in the Wilderness, you
Yes.
know? Yeah.
All right. I am going to ask you to sing me a cappella from 400 Years in the Wilderness.
400 years alone in the wilderness, battered and bruised, bruised, bruised. 400 years alone in the wilderness, said I've been used, used, used. Yeah,
Yes, but that's some deep meditation at age 16.
I've been writing songs I've been writing poet from
Yes.
I was 9 years old.
All right.
And then by the time I reached 12,
Yes.
I start to turn them into music, because my grandmother realized and understand me that I was going to be in the entertainment business.
Yes.
So she encouraged me
Yeah.
that no matter what kind of education I got in school,
Yes.
I must remember that I born with a blessed talent
Yes.
to write my own songs, and she's asking me to share my songs with the world.
Yes. That's very good encouragement.
Yes, because she's a she's a descendant from the Maroon,
Yes.
and she didn't really deal with the British colonial system.
Yeah.
She was into her Kunima and Pocomania.
Yes.
So she taught me to sing my songs with drums.
Yeah.
So any song that I am singing, any song you hear that I sing, everything is composed, is a composition from the fields of the drums.
Okay. Spiritual.
Yes, yes, and rutical.
Yes.
Very, very African vibration.
Yes. That's amazing. I think your grandmother sound like she was a very liberal person within those time, because a lot of parents and grandparents back in the days, if they heard a youth saying that they want to be a singer, they would tell them to like give up on that idea. It was not a lot of people that encourage and believe in a youth at that time when they say they want to be an artist, you know what I mean? So it sounded like she was very liberal and a great influence in that way.
Well, she was the first one who discovered that. And as a child,
Yes.
I always she always give me the free will as long as it is positive to do what I supposed to do.
Yes.
Because I never grew up in religion and going to church and all those things, because she told me, say, well, that is mental colonialism. So
Yes.
yeah.
And I think she was a very wise woman. Yes. So the name Ras Midas, where did that name come from?
Okay, well, it is my father give me as a middle name.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, because Ras mean head
Mm-hmm.
and Midas mean power of the rain, or a ton or a seat of gold. That's what it meant.
Okay. Seeing that's powerful.
Yes, so it's only because the Greek took the word and interpret it and spread it around, say it's a touch of gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So let's come back into um, singing at that age. When you released that first album at age 16, how well did it do? How well did it go? Did it manifest throughout Jamaica, out of Jamaica? What happened?
I didn't know how well it did, because at that young age, my anxiety was to sing my song and record my song. So I, I didn't really get to really find out what's really happened. But the greatest thing that happened out of those recording,
Yes.
there's a song called Kudia Bamba.
Yeah.
And I recorded from 1974. And Harry didn't decide to release the song until 1976.
Yes.
So the day they were in the studio mixing the song, it happened that Chris Blackwell from Island Record came to the studio to pick up some material from RJ, because at that time the Wailers was recording
Mm-hmm.
in that studio for Chris. So Chris
Yeah.
came along to pick up some material for Wailers, and I believe Third World, one of the two, or some
Yeah.
Jimmy Cliff things too.
Yes.
So Harry asked Chris to give a listen to the song.
Yes.
It's because Harry said to Chris, well, it it don't sound like the rest of Jamaican reggae. It seemed like he have his own way of doing his things, and I like it.
Yes.
So Chris give a listen to it.
Yes.
And then Chris said, play it over again from the beginning, take a second listen.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris listened, and then he said, he didn't, I didn't hear what he said. I know that Harry and Chris went into RG office.
Yes.
And when Chris gone, Harry said to me, well, Highland is going to give your song a try, and it will be released in about 3 months' time.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And the song took off.
Yes.
I believe in the UK it was about, I believe either number 14 or number 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 months after that, Harry called me and said, I would like you to come down here to Jamaica because Chris make a suggestion.
Yes.
So I came, he brought me down, and Chris, he said, Chris want me to sing the song in Swahili.
In Swahili.
Yeah. So they get someone to translate the song from English to Swahili.
Yeah.
And I did a version.
You sang it in Swahili.
Yeah.
Could you speak any Swahili at that time before somebody
No, no,
translated?
no, 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 no. I do different song. I do songs in different language and I don't speak the language.
Okay.
But I did it because they were able to market my music
Mm-hmm.
in certain African countries
Yeah.
and certain Caribbean countries and in South America also.
Yeah. Wow.
And so meanwhile, people in the UK they know if
Yes.
but I wasn't in the popularity whether it was Bob Marley or Jimmy Cliff or Third World. But other part of the world they wasn't popular. Put away Bob Marley and Jimmy Cliff.
Yes.
I was right there bubbling behind them.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. So I think people checking out this podcast right now would be very disappointed in me if I didn't ask you if you remember how to sing any of that song in Swahili, just a little bit of it.
Sedan Sedan Kawawa, Sedan Kawawa, Walisimu Mututu. Sedan Kawawa, Sedan Kawawa, Walisimu Ututu. Yeah.
Yes, that's amazing. That takes some great talent. I would love to be able to sing in different language or speak in different language, but yeah, I get too excited thinking about the possibility of doing it that I can't focus on the learning itself. You know, I'm always get way too far ahead of
Yeah.
myself when it comes to doing stuff like that. That's amazing. So back in this time now, you're catching a little break for yourself. Who were some of the artists them that you was listening to at that point?
You know, I listen to artists, but I never really, what I would say, I never really, I appreciate what they were doing, but
Mm-hmm.
I never
Got
let their
influenced by
music,
them. You never get
I never,
influenced by them.
no, because because from my growing up, I have my own influence.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah, I love the Wailers.
yes.
I love the Wailers when the three of them was really together.
Mm-hmm.
I I love them when they were separated, but in my own views, they
Mm-hmm.
were greater together as the Wailers.
Well, I think that is natural. We are talking about three amazing artists who did incredibly well by themselves after the Wailers. So it's a given that three of them together was gonna be like the greatest thing of all time.
Yeah.
Have you ever
And
met any of them? Have you ever met any of them?
yes, I am Bonnie Wheeler is good friend, and I am Peter Touch's good social friend also. But I I was I was more friendly with Bonnie Wheelers
Mhm.
than the rest. But I am Peter is good social friend.
Okay,
I never plenty interaction with Bob Marley.
okay. Well, I'm basically that's incredible because we are talking about some of the greatest people that ever live in reggae music, you know what I mean, out of Jamaica, really. And big up to Sir Toots himself, may he rest in peace, and the other guys that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, I know Toots.
Yeah, he's an
I
amazing,
know Jimmy Cliff. I know Third World and
yeah.
those people. Yeah.
So, who are some of the major players of like productions, producers in Jamaica you work with, other than that guy?
Well, I only work with that one producer until I start to produce my own self.
Okay.
Because you know, when I just get into the music business,
Yes.
Harry told me that I mustn't try to run around to different studio
Yes.
because I will end up being a hustler.
And people will hustle you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And him say it's not good when your music is on different labels because they will start to run in competition, and probably you have a good music and someone just release something, and when you check it out you don't have a good seller because you have too much producer competing against each other with your music, and it work out to nothing. So
That's,
I accept what he was saying, and I never run around to different labels.
yes, I can testify to that. That is very true. I had a really big project coming out on a record label before, and when we start advertising it, before I know, a couple of other producers that I did song with just happened to be releasing their song right in the midst of it to feed off the people that was spending their money to promote that big project I was doing. They decided to throw their things out in the same time as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a smart man. People, a lot of people do that kind of thing for real, unfortunately. So let's travel back across the pond to the UK.
Yeah.
You arrive in Birmingham at age 13, all of this going on, coming over to live with you, Auntie. What was it like for you when you arrived in the UK?
Well, it happened that I arrived in winter because I arrived in the month of November.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experience, I never experienced this kind of cold weather, damp, always having runny nose, your eyes burning you, and it was terrible, man. It was not a good experience. Although I was living amongst a lot of Jamaicans and people from Trinidad, some African people and some people from India and thing, you know.
Yes.
At a young age, I could realize that there was a lot of tension going on
Yes.
between the different cultures and the different races of people.
Yes.
And then you have the skinhead and the punks and white supremacy, and they don't like immigrants and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it was not a nice experience.
Well, I would think a lot of people I've met and spoke to share that same similar experience, if you like, which is most unfortunate. So then you come in, and I take it you went to school soon after you arrived.
Yeah, yeah. And then 2 years after that,
Mm-hmm.
my auntie and my uncle moved to Manchester City because they said they couldn't take the environment there.
Okay.
So we moved to Manchester City.
Mm-hmm. And what was that like?
That was a little bit nicer, but it was cooler.
Yeah.
It was more cooler in
Well,
Manchester City
going
than
further up
Birmingham.
north. Going further up north.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. So then at that point, at this point now, going up to Manchester, we're looking at 2 years, we're talking about 15s going 16, right?
Yeah.
So at this stage now, what was it? Were you singing in England at this point? Any sound system or anything?
No, yeah, yeah, I couldn't get to deal with sound system and all those things because what happened, my my auntie and my uncle are religious people.
I know you was gonna say that because that's another thing that a lot of people shared as well.
Yeah. And to myself, I'm think I was in a box now because I grew up with my grandparents and I didn't know about no I was into the Christian thing and so forth.
Yes,
Because my grandmother is more of a African spiritual person.
yes,
And she taught me that the creator liveth in I.
yes,
And I live it in the creator. And she told me that the whole world, the whole planet Earth is the creator. And
yes,
I live it in the creator and the creator living in I. And there's no place else.
yes.
And then the worst thing about it, my auntie and my uncle were Jehovah Witness people.
Mm-hmm.
And then they thought that everything towards music,
Was
if
devil
it's not
worshiping.
if it's not with the church, then it's against God laws and all them things. I say to myself, I not grow up about no God law and all them things.
Yeah.
And Jesus and these things because as far as I grew up to know, my grandparents teach me that Jesus is a white mythology story started in Greece
Yes.
and is the image of colonialism.
Yeah.
So me is thinking to myself now, well, I not go really bow down to this, you know. So me and them have problem
Yeah.
because on the weekends they want me to go around people's house and knock and leave pamphlets and all these things and talk to people. And I rebel against that.
Yes.
So when I reach 16, I just step out from that.
Yeah. Because I think one of the thing that a lot of people or youths got caught in, you grow up in a certain home environment, and because that's their views, you are not allowed to have your own views, which is a problem because as individuals, in order to make strong individuals, you have to allow people to be individuals and choose their own paths. And unfortunately, that is never always the case, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because my grandmother is a Garveyite,
Yes.
and she's a Leonard Howellite.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is very conscious of what's going on in the world that she grew up in.
Yes.
Because she's the one telling me that freedom
Mm-hmm.
is not something that given unto no one. You have to fight for it.
Yes.
And she said that's what her parents did. They have to fight for their freedom as the Maroons.
Yes.
And she was saying to me now, Jamaica lose their fighting spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime you're going to make an agreement with your oppressor, the oppressor is going to make an agreement which is more advantage to them, not us.
Yes.
So she wasn't too much into the Jamaica environment affair, and that's the way I grew up.
Okay. Okay. Yes, because Jamaica was, ruled under colonialism.
Yeah, colonialism,
Yes.
and is part of the Commonwealth. And
Mm-hmm.
then she
Mm-hmm.
was, and then I hear she was talking with other people, not direct to her, to say that the Commonwealth is a mini empire for England,
Yes.
but then disguise it as the Commonwealth.
But the
Uh,
common people didn't have any wealth.
no,
So,
because the crown control the wealth and the people in Jamaica is the common.
yeah. Yes. I have come to learn that the countries that are part of the Commonwealth and was a part of the Commonwealth, they didn't really do that by choice. It's because they were colonized.
They do it by choice, man, because they negotiate their independence. I don't call it independence, right? I call it independent.
Yeah.
You're now taken out of the fields and put into the pen.
You negotiate where independent, or you can live independent.
Yes, you cannot live in the pen. And that is the problem that taking place with all these so-called country that claim that they have independence. They do not have any independence. They are mentally independent.
Yeah.
Because they are mature into the British Empire colonial, neo-colonial enterprise, that they lose who they are and they forgot who them is.
Yeah.
And whether you're living in England or you're living in Africa or you're living in the Caribbean, is this said song sing? Or if you live in the United States, is this said song singing?
Yes.
And I don't know why people do not come to their consciousness, because you know why? People is not studying, people is not educating themselves
Yeah.
to discover who they are and who they was and who they can be.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I agree with you. While you're on that point, I want to ask you a question. See if you can shed any light on this. I was told, make clear, I was born in 1980.
Okay.
But I was told that up until 1962, when Jamaica so-called became independent, the kind of crime and violence that is taking place or has been taking place in Jamaica since after 1962, that didn't exist because there wasn't guns and stuff there like that. Do you know anything about this?
That is true. The gun started when the gun running started in the 70s.
Okay.
Because when the two political parties become political rivals more than political parties to solve the people problem, because they weren't dealing with the people policy. They were dealing with neo-colonial politics.
Yes.
And so they intervened with the guns because they started out to use the guns, educating the youth to use guns, and not really giving them real education to advance or to give them an evolution of themselves.
Yes.
Because Jamaica become a dependable country. Because when you're not a productive country or you're not an industrial country, you have to depend on the banks and gifts from outside of your country to survive.
Yes.
Because although the people in the Caribbean have a plantation mentality. So what they have done is set up Jamaica on a political tribalism. And so the political tribalism, that's what taking over. And the population have lost its interest in who they really are or who they want to be.
Yeah.
So they're still mentally colonialized religiously, economically, and they lose their spirituality, because if you don't know your spirituality, you don't know who you is.
True.
And you cannot create a culture on a rotten foundation.
That's very true. That's very true. Thank you so much for clearing that up. There's one other point that I've seen a few times where that is concerned. I'm pretty sure that over the years you would have heard that Jamaica sold off the land, they sold off the beaches, they sold off the airplanes, they sold off the hospital, they sold off a whole lot of things. The wharf was the last thing I heard that they sold. They sold off to private sector. It is said that the reason why Jamaica is so broke and is in debt, that when Jamaica was made to be or said to be independent in 1962, Jamaica was left broke with no money at all. And in order to continue education and to sustain the country, they had to take out major loans from overseas country, which until this day, Jamaica can only afford to pay the interest, which is why they have to keep selling things to keep up with the payment. Have you ever heard anything like that?
That is true. That is called neo-colonialism.
Okay.
Because that's why I said Jamaica is a client to the World Bank and to the IMF.
Yeah.
Because they should have, from independence, they should have concentrated on developing the country into an industry in which they have the material to industrialize themselves. But the people have never been educated to do so, because what the British have done is leave some of their followers as an overseer or supervisor over the government of Jamaica and the people of Jamaica. And I heard people talking about reparation, right?
Yes.
Now I'm saying to myself, why when you was negotiating for independence or the so-called independent then, why you never didn't put that in the negotiation? Why you wait until Britain get broke? Then you're talking about reparation.
Yes, but how do we know that they didn't apply for reparation within that time when they did that?
Everybody know they didn't apply for it, because if they did apply for it, we would know.
Okay.
Because in politics, there is nothing really secret.
That's true.
Because one side is going to come out and criticize the next side, because this is how the politics set up. Even in the UK, that's how it's set up, you know? Conservative against Labour. Labour saying negative about conservative, and conservative saying negative about the Labour same way.
Yeah. Do you think that within that time when they bring politics into Jamaica, they had two white men from overseas to represent Jamaica, one for the Labour Party and one for the PNP? Do you think it's a case that those guys didn't really have Jamaica best interest at heart, but just for their own selfish gain, if you like? Because if they had Jamaica best interest at heart, those people wouldn't have bring gun to go and divide the people.
Well, that's why they get out Marcus Garvey. You understand? Because Marcus Garvey was the younger man living a rise out of Jamaica. Put away the Maroons, that is a long time ago. Ever since the Maroons, Marcus Garvey was the most intelligent and powerful man to lead Jamaica out of the situation.
Yeah.
But they make sure and get him out of Jamaica. Then they have two brothers, because Norman Manley and Buster Manty is two brothers, you know.
Oh, is it? I didn't realize that.
Yes, because listen, their original name is Clark.
Okay.
The saying goes that one man get two sisters pregnant. And when they didn't want the disgrace to happen in Jamaica, they send one to England and send one to Spain.
Okay.
The one that went to England adopted his wife named Manley. And then the one that went to Spain adopted the name Alexander Bustamante.
Okay.
So the two brothers came back into Jamaica, and the British government, or the British, whatsoever it may be, colonialists, they choose those people, because those are the two people that could be easily influenced to be the overseer to run Jamaica in the so-called independence.
Okay. Thank you so much for this. I feel like I'm back in school. I'm learning a lot of stuff that I didn't know. Since I came to England, I have learned things about Jamaica that I didn't know growing up in Jamaica because they didn't teach you that in schools. You know what I mean? I came to England and learned a whole lot more about the truth and what make more sense about Jamaica than what they taught us in school in Jamaica. So anyway, now let's go back into the music business now. And
Yeah.
so you leave at 16, you move out.
Yeah.
And did you move to go live with friends, or how did that work out for you? Because that's a
Yeah,
very young age
yeah.
moving in.
I move and live with a friend, and then I start to travel between Jamaica and the UK,
Mm-hmm.
because now that I get fully into my music now, because I don't have to deal with my auntie and Christianity mentality and so forth. So
Yeah.
I was free to get into my music. So I spent a lot of time in Jamaica in the studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and that chances, did you used to do many performances in both Jamaica and England?
Well, I never get to do a lot of performance in England, because what happened,
Mm-hmm.
Harry said to me, these producers in England,
Mm-hmm.
these these so-called Jamaican producers, they use artists like sound system.
Yes.
And he didn't want them to use me like a sound system.
You want to
Because
be
he said,
a recording artist.
yeah, he said, you're a recording artist. I want you to be a professional recording artist. And
Yes.
I don't want you to go over England singing over people's sound system like a DJ.
Yes. Yes.
Because he was telling me, plenty of the people that you see go over there, they don't have any band, and
Yes.
they don't have professional promoters who promoting them, because their music is not selling enough
Mm-hmm.
to for professional promoters to have interest in them, to deal with them in the right and proper way.
Yes.
So what they do with me, they promote my music like in France,
Mm-hmm.
Germany, Holland,
Mm-hmm.
and all those countries, French-speaking African countries, and French-speaking Caribbean countries, and South America. So I get to be dwelt with as a recording artist,
Mm-hmm.
with my manager, my managers, and people that looking after me, with deal with me professionally.
Okay. That's amazing. So working with Chris Blackwell and Island Records, then when he decided to, so the song was doing all right, and then he got it to do a version in Swahili. This must have been like an exciting time for you, bear in mind that Bob Marley was signed to Island Records at that time, I would imagine, because Chris Blackwell used to do a lot of stuff with Chris Blackwell.
Yeah,
What was
yeah.
what
Well,
was that like for you at that point?
I personally didn't sign to Highland Record, but what happened? Chris Blackwell and Harry Johnson have a deal,
Yes.
a production deal.
Mm-hmm.
And out of that production deal, I was one of the artists with the Eptones
Mm-hmm.
and some other people that I don't remember. Probably Dan, no, uh, some other artists,
Yes.
the Cables and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But out of those deal, I was the most fortunate one
Yeah.
to advance out of that, because the songs them that I was singing was catching on more to people in the third world,
Mm-hmm.
especially in African French speaking world,
Mm-hmm.
because the song them that I was writing and singing, people get more understanding out of what I was saying, because I was singing the people's music then.
Yes.
I was singing songs of everyday people, the
Yes.
struggle that people was going through, and then could relate to what I was saying.
Yes, and I suppose probably at the time as well, the fact that you were spending a lot of time in England, your pronunciation of words probably would have make it easier for people to understand more than some people that just had a very strong Jamaican accent at the time, probably. So that's
That is
probably would
true.
be
That is
beneficial as
true.
well.
That is true because Harry always said, I am not saying that you cannot have few little patois words,
Mm-hmm.
but the main theme here, I want you to sing properly that people can listen to what you're saying.
Yes,
Because if people cannot understand your lyrics and your message, you're not going anywhere.
that's
Don't
true.
don't don't fight against who's telling you about you're coming from your roots and them things there because they are not the one going to buy your music.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
Because when I started record for him, he said, "Tell me the songs them that your friend love." I
Mm-hmm.
tell him all the songs them that my friend love. He said, "I am not going to record the songs that your friends love."
Your friend is not gonna buy any music.
Yes, that's what he told me. Say, I'm going to record the songs them that your friend do not love.
Yeah,
Because you're not singing for your friends. You're
yeah,
singing for people out in the world.
yes. That's a very smart man.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a very wise man. So the song been doing really well in Africa. Did you get to travel to Africa?
Yeah, man, I travel to many African countries, man. I know 36 different African countries, but it's not everyone that I perform in. But
Hmm.
in some places in Africa, they just call me the Kudia Bamba man.
Yeah, because of the song.
Yeah,
Yeah, amazing, amazing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Europe as well, been to many places in Europe as well, I would imagine.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah.
So,
Because I did out of all the European countries,
mhm,
I did really well in France
yes.
because I did an album called Rastaman in Exile.
Hmm.
And I did a version in English. There was a song named Too Long in the Wind.
Hmm.
And I did a version in French. It's called Trop Longtemps D'en Avoir.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
And Rastaman in Exile is one of the put away Bob Marley and Jimmy Cliff and Third World.
Hmm.
Rastaman in Exile is one of the most formidable album coming out of Jamaica. That's what the critics say. That's not what I am saying.
Yes, yes, yes.
It is rated as one of the best recorded and composed and arranged reggae album to come out of Jamaica.
Okay, that's amazing, man. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And
And that album was in 1980 it was number one album in France.
oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and Chou Lang Tong Donovan carry me to all the French speaking Caribbean countries and to all the French speaking African countries.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So,
Yeah.
so basically, you've been traveling the world and performing and stuff, and then you end up in the US. How did you manage to transform from migrate, if you like, from the UK to the US? What make you choose that?
Well, my manager told me that, all right, they were working on I came to the US
Mhm.
to sign up with a record company called A&M.
Yeah.
But after a while, my manager said, anyway, we went into A&M and talked to A&M and things like that, you
Mhm.
know?
Yes.
And they want me to water down my music to the police.
Hmm.
Doing something near like what the police was doing at the time, because at the time the police did sign with A&M in
Hmm.
the United States here.
That's the police that feature like that Sting and people like that.
Yeah, yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So because my manager was saying, I don't know what they are doing, but what they're doing is not reggae. It's some drug out business where we can understand. But
Yeah.
they allow them to sell it to the United audience as reggae.
Mm-hmm.
So my manager said, well, he's not going to allow me to water down my music that way.
Yes.
So, but he got a distribution deal here for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to tour the United States, not every state, but some states.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that it would be very nice if I could get to reside in the United States.
Yes.
So I took the opportunity because it was good to be, although you have some place in the United States cooler than the UK,
Mm-hmm.
I never really I never live in there because I was living in California
Yeah.
before I moved to where I'm living right here now in Florida.
Okay. So how did you find it? Do you feel like it life is better in the USA than the UK? Do you enjoy it more?
Well, I enjoy myself to a degree, but it was hard for me to break through in the United States.
Yeah.
So my manager said, forget about the United States, concentrate on where people know you.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want something to come down like Sting as support. Because even Bob Marley have a hard time to break through here.
I've heard that. I've seen documentaries and some stuff that he got to do, some little shows and stuff there trying to break through there.
Yeah, is one artist breakthrough a little well good in the United States. It was Jimmy Cliff
Mm-hmm.
with a song called The Order They Come and I Can See Clearly and so forth, you know.
Yes.
So I just concentrate on where people appreciate love my music and appreciate people accept me for who I am. And
Make
I just continue from that time.
Makes sense.
And at the same time, I just create my own record label
Mm-hmm.
because although Hazard France do a great job,
Mm-hmm.
and I also was with Sally Lloyd,
Mm-hmm.
is that the amount of people that have to get money from your royalties.
Leave you broke.
Yeah, you end up singing for the record company and not for your interest because the only thing you will get some money from is when you tour.
Yes.
And then when you're dealing with royalty thing, you know, them charge you for more telephone call and make they charge you for marketing, promotion and blah, 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 you know.
Next thing you're the only person that getting paid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I come to the knowledge and say, you know what happened? I'm just going to be an independent artist with my own independent label.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I sell 10,000 copies,
Mm-hmm.
I am really happy
Yes.
because I profit more.
Then when you sell 50,000.
When you sell 50,000 or 250,000,
Makes sense. Makes sense.
you
Makes
know?
sense. Yes, of
Because,
course. I'm with you. I
because if I do an album and sell 10,000 copies,
yes.
it, it's gold for
Yes.
I hitting my own goals.
Of course. I'm with you. I'm with you totally.
Yeah,
Self-reliance is the best policy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little tough sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but you know you are on your own. You are cutting your own path through the forest, you know,
That's true. That's true.
and you have the free I don't like to deal with the word freedom, the free will
To do what you want.
to do what you want to do the way you want to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
you can make your own distribution deal
Yes, that's true.
because when you have your product, you can go into a distributor and say, well, you know, I have a product here.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen to if you like it and so forth, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
and they can. manufacture and distribute and then take them distribution deal and the manufacture cost. And the rest is my own.
Yes.
And I see that as free will. I
That,
don't
that
see it
makes
as
sense.
freedom because freedom mean when you're free the dumb, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Yeah, man. True, but true. So
Yeah,
what's the name of your label?
JML Music,
JML.
JML Records.
Okay. And what you got coming out? Have you got anything coming out soon?
I have a new single came out in January,
Mm-hmm.
World Block Party.
World Black Party, and it's available right now.
Yes, it's available on all the leading internet store. World Block Party.
iTunes, Amazon,
All of
Spotify,
them.
YouTube, World Black.
Yeah, all
Ras
of them.
Midas.
Yes. And at the same time, I have a company in Belgium that do my reissue.
Mm-hmm.
And last Friday, they just came out with a new reissue of a 12-inch 45 on vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Let the People Go
Yeah.
and Rain on Fire,
Mm-hmm.
12-inch vinyl.
Yeah. Amazing. And those are available right now as well.
Yes, because what has happened, the younger generation in Europe is interested in vinyl and interested in the reggae music from the 70s to the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a market for that.
That's the foundation sound is never going anywhere. It's always you stay unique and organic, you know what I mean? I still to this day still feel like those tunes from back in the days is like still heads and shoulder above just the natural organic sound that you got from the music from them times till now. So those songs will forever be classics, you know what I mean? The sound that they have there is still, you know, I know a lot of the music these days is really good, but wherever I go and hear the foundation sound and them roots sound is just, you know, second to none.
Well, you know why?
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, those music from the 70s and 80s
Mm-hmm.
is selling more than the music that they're making now. Like people talking about new roots and
Yeah.
whatsoever. I don't pay attention to that, okay?
Yeah.
And the next thing about it, why they are not reproducing the music of the 70s, said the mid 60s, 70s, 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Technology come in and kill the reggae market about 50%.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And there is producers who do not want to spend money and get live musician and carry them into the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So that when an artist sing his song or his melody or her melody,
Mm-hmm.
the musician can have a spiritual connection to what you are singing
Yeah,
and to create the rhythm
that's true.
from that spiritual vibes that is coming out of the artist.
Yes, I agree totally.
And the next thing, they are just redoing rhythms from Coxsone, Treasure Eyes, and whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
There's no creativity within the music industry in Jamaica anymore.
Yeah.
And from you're not creating and being in the evolution
Mm-hmm.
of the music to reach a higher heights with the roots rock reggae music, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to reach anywhere because the world is still waiting for a new evolution in the roots rock reggae music.
True. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Makes a lot of sense. Like I said, those sounds never go anywhere, and you know, gotta keep big up to all of the artists them that is trying to keep it fresh as possible, and the producers them, you know. So basically, I want to thank you so much for joining the Reggae Up Yourself podcast. where can people find you? If people want to go check out your music, we know you're on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube. Are you on Facebook and Instagram and things like those?
I am on Facebook and I am Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
and they can check I out at rasmidas.com,
Mm-hmm. Can you
which is
spell
my
it for us, please?
www.rasmidas.com.
rasmidas.com.
Yes, and they can just they can join me on Facebook, because every 2 weeks I put out a blog,
Mm-hmm.
not dealing with music alone, mostly on the evolution of ourselves as human beings, how we can relate to each other, how African people can learn to respect each other again, because we have lost respect for each other. And
Yeah,
as long as we don't have any respect for each other, and not accepting each other, we cannot talk about love.
it's true.
Love is a life you live, man. Love is not word you speak or fantasy from movies, you know?
That's true. That's true. That's true. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. So you can get into the romance thing, you have to get into the Zion man thing.
Yes, man. Natural mystic.
Yes, yes. The article revolution.
Yes.
You have to get into the article revolution, because they can join me. Even I have a blog too called the One Love Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
People can join me on that. People can join me on my Facebook page. People can join me on rasmidas.com
Yes.
and Twitter, and we can have a conversation, because I don't deal with music alone.
Yes.
I deal with lecturing too. Real concept.
Yes.
A way of life.
Yes.
Because some of what I want to share with people, one album cannot hold it.
Yes. I heard that.
You know? So anyone who listen and they're interested in what I have to say, they can invite me to their country or to any different area in the UK, and we can have a conversation. Oh, I am not saying that I have all the answers, but
Mm-hmm.
I am saying let us put our ideals, our idea at
Mm-hmm.
the table of decision, and from each ideals and each culture,
Mm-hmm.
we can choose things that can really work with all of us. That's how we're going to make the necessary change.
Blessings. Blessings. Powerful.
Yes,
Words of
yes,
sound and power, brother man. Ras
yes.
Midas, thank you so much for joining me on the Reggae Up Yourself podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I want to wish you a lot of love and blessing and happiness in these times. And good luck with everything you do. And I look forward to catch up with you again soon.
Yes, but I'm looking forward to catch up with you and the future man.
Give thanks.
The future man is the present man also. So,
Naturally.
so nice
It's in
to,
every moment. The future
yes,
man is every moment from now
yes,
on, you know?
yes. But
Living.
but but I want your fans to know that I do different kind of reggae. I do roots rock reggae, and
Yeah.
I do third world reggae,
Mm-hmm.
our world beat reggae, and I do what I would say contemporary reggae also.
Yes. Man of
Yes.
many talent, skills.
Yes, you have to spread out, your music, man, because the release on January
Yes.
is a contemporary roots rock reggae.
All right. And that one you say is on YouTube right now.
Yeah,
And
yes. But a lot of my music is on YouTube and all, and CB and CD Baby. People
yeah.
can go into all the leading
Platforms.
platforms
Yes.
and get my music if they are interested. If they are interested of us being real brothers and sisters,
Mm-hmm.
if they are interested in for us to rebuild the brotherhood of humanity, then they have a chance to listen to my music, because that's what I'm dealing with from I was 16 years old, singing the people's music. singing everyday people music because I understand what you are going through.
Yes. Speaking from experience.
Yes, I understand, I understand, and I overstand.
Yes, Rasta.
Yes, so give thanks, the
Bless and
future
love.
man. One love and happiness.
Rastafari is the Almighty. Thank you.
Yes, Rastafari, Rastafari always.
Yes, Rasta. Give thanks. Take
Give
care. All right.
thanks.
Blessing.
Yes, yes, give thanks.